Hello, welcome and welcome back, butterflies and emerging butterflies. It has been an awesome week, but guess what? We are right back here at Thursday. You know what that means? It is time for an uncomfortable conversation with me, none other than Emerging Z, where right here on Vegas Height Media. Um, so first, I want to thank last week's guest, Penny and Peggy. Those two had a story. There's a lot more that we didn't get into, but the little bit that they did share in the 30 minutes that we had was a lot to process and digest. I'm still trying to figure out what a quaalude is. If anybody knows, please tell me. I really want to know what a quaalude is, what it consists of. And I've asked several people. I even posted it on my IG page. Nobody was able to tell me anything. You can't tell me nobody knows what a quaalude is. Y'all can't all be as green as I am. Anyway, thank you to all of my new subscribers. I have reached a milestone in my podcasting career. I have over 100 subscribers now, and that's like super exciting for me and you guys to know that you are out there watching, tuning in, and enjoying the podcast. So just thank you so much. I absolutely appreciate that. And we are going to continue on our emergence journey. Today, we are going to touch on Memorial Day, which is coming up. So I have a very awesome guest to share some conversation with you guys about that. His name is Mr. David Clora, and he is, oh, there he is. Hi, he is joining us from South Carolina. And Mr. David is retired from the Navy, right? And he retired a petty officer, first class. So
Yes.
welcome, Mr. Clora. How are you?
Thank you very much. I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm excellent. You know, I'm always doing great.
Mm.
Life is too short to not be doing great. I'm enjoying every single minute of it. So, really quickly, if you would just share with the people what you did for the Navy and your rank in there. So, you know.
Um, so what I did for the Navy, I was a ABH, which means the acronym is Aviation Bosun Mace Handler, which I worked on the flight deck of aircraft carriers and amphibious assault ships. Um, so whenever you see Navy commercials and you see the people on the flight deck running around with the different color jerseys, the yellow jerseys and green and red jerseys, that's what I did. I worked up there doing that.
Okay. So you got to
I
wear
was
those
the
big headphones that
I'm
look
sorry.
like this for sound, protect your ears. They really care about you there. Make sure
Yes,
your
they
ears
did.
are
We
safe.
call that PPE, which is personal protective equipment.
Yes.
They had to keep us safe because they invested a lot of money in us and our training. So
Okay. So, Memorial Day, it is coming up. You are fortunate enough to be here to celebrate with us. Being retired from the military, there's not, I'm not going to say not a lot, but there are some that have been less fortunate than you, should I say, that aren't here to enjoy this glorious holiday with us. How do you feel about Memorial Day?
wow, good question. Um, Memorial Day to me is a time to step back and reflect or acknowledge the
Did you Google that answer?
no,
Oh, okay.
no, the Google, no, what?
I'm just saying it sounds a lot like the message that I got when I looked at it. I'm just sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, stop playing. No, but take it to step back and to acknowledge the military personnel that gave all during their time in service. Um, that's what Memorial Day is to honor the veterans that.
Okay, so that's the politically correct version,
Mhm.
right? I want your
Right.
version.
You you know what that is okay. That is my version. More or
That's the
less, it
version
is.
they told
It's
him to
just
say, y'all.
to honor. It's to honor the men and women
Do
that's been
you?
died
Okay,
on
well, in
the
that case,
battlefield.
do you feel like they're truly being honored on that day?
No, I don't.
Okay, elaborate. Why?
Um, because a lot of people, they will say, like, you will come across people that say, thank you for your service
Mm-hmm.
and such, but they don't know what a lot of military people had to go through or encountered during their military career.
Such as what do you mean when you say they don't know? Because I mean, we see you guys on the television when they show us. Well, yeah, they show us the snippets where you guys are over there at war. You got these big guns, you're shooting. It looks like a lot of fun, like the Army when they combined with the Transformers. And I seen that movie. It was exciting.
And that's what you see on TV.
Right.
But then you have to think about, okay, when they get done with that, so they take these guys that's in the military and they train them how to fight and how to kill.
Okay. Can I pause you right there really quick? They train you how to fight and how to kill. At what age do they start training these men, women?
So you can go into boot camp at the age of 18.
Okay. So at
So
18, we're training killers.
yes, we're training people that are fresh out of high school,
Mm-hmm.
who has just left algebra, science, history class, and putting them in training where they are defending the country or their life, or fighting for the country, fighting for their life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so
You feel like
with that comes a lot of, after all that, they have to compartmentalize
compartmentalize.
what they've seen and what they've been through
Mm-hmm.
when they come back home. Um,
Why
and
is
the
it that
ones
they
who,
have to
I'm sorry, go ahead.
why is it that they have to compartmentalize what it is that they've seen? Well, why do
Because
you feel like? Why did
you
you
have to
have to compartmentalize?
um, a lot, Zakia. Uh,
Take your time.
so what you have to what you'll compartmentalize is some of the things that you have witnessed, some of the things that you have seen, some of the situations that you have been in. Now, I'm gonna take a step back. For me, I was in the Navy. I was not in direct line of fire, or I wasn't in on the front lines, unlike some of our other military personnel.
Okay.
Um, so I don't have the same experience that they have coming
Okay.
back.
Can I pause you?
But
How old were you when you went into the Navy?
I was 18 when I went into the
Okay, so
Navy.
you were one of those fresh out of high school. I'm going to do this in the Navy.
I graduated in June, and 2 weeks later, I was leaving for boot camp going to San Diego.
What? Why did you? What attracted you to the Navy
Um,
or any military? Like, what just made you say, "Hey, I'm gonna go do this"?
Leaving, me joining the military had a lot to do with me growing up in Chicago.
Okay.
That's where I'm originally from. And what I was doing in Chicago and the way some of the things that was happening to me in Chicago had put me in a mindset early on, before I was even 18, that I need to leave this situation, and 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 I just need to get away from this situation, and then I can
And you felt like the
start
military
fresh.
was a better option.
At that time, I felt like the military was the only option.
Oh, that's even more
Um,
interesting. Only.
Now, granted, my mom, she worked at my high school. College was an option, but I always wanted to travel. I always wanted to see different things and experience different things. And I felt that the military could provide that for me. I knew I couldn't do it, or my family couldn't do it financially.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt that the military could definitely put me in a position to do them type of things.
Can I go back for just a quick second? You said the things that you were doing or getting into, you were being subject to in Chicago. Um, can you just elaborate on that just a smidget more so I can just help the viewers, the butterflies, visualize your life before military and then, going into and why that seemed like the best option for you?
Okay. Um, so everybody joins the military for a purpose.
Right.
Um,
It's to serve the
my
country.
situation, my situation in my home life wasn't the best. I came up in an abusive background
Okay.
with mother, father constantly fighting. Um, so me me being in that situation was not an ideal situation for me growing up. I had friends at the time that was doing not so good things. I was gang banging in Chicago.
Is that what that red shirt is about? You came
Not
up
at
on here
all.
with a red shirt?
Not at
What?
all.
Oh, it was
No,
you was on the blue
it's,
side?
it's totally opposite color.
Oh,
I was
okay.
gang banging in Chicago. I
Okay.
was running with a wrong group in Chicago. I was doing some things that I shouldn't have been
Shouldn't have
doing.
been doing
But I was wise enough that I knew that
to get out.
I had to make this situation. I had to better myself and get away from this situation and make
Okay.
myself better.
So a recruiter, much like yourself, came and enticed you and it all
I
sounded
took
good.
you have to take a test to get into the military. I took my test my junior year in high school, which was the ASVAB.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I took that with the intentions of joining the United States Army.
Okay.
Um, my uncle, he was in the Army. He was in Vietnam. I had another uncle. He was in the Air Force. And I have a cousin that is in the Army. And after, talking to them and getting some insight, um, and knowing that I wanted to travel and talking to a recruiter, he had explained to me that the best option for me would be to join the United States Navy.
The Navy.
Uh,
Okay. So it was
and
only
he
the
was like,
traveling issue that deterred you from the Army and the Air Force.
that and the fighting issue.
Oh,
I,
wait, you came up in the gangs and you were scared to fight?
yeah, I mean, don't nobody want to get shot at for real. I don't care what
Oh, you
nobody
just want to
say.
talk about it.
don't, don't
Okay.
nobody want to get shot at. Don't nobody will be out there be fighting for real. I mean,
Okay.
not sane people. Some people out there that really enjoy it, but not just on the street fighting for your life every day.
Okay.
No.
Got it. Understood.
Uh,
Understood.
but yeah, so the recruiter was like, "Hey, I can send you to I can get you to go to boot camp in San Diego. I can get you out to Chicago. I can have all this done in 2 weeks." I was like, "Let's do it."
Let's do it. What was your mom's or your parents? Because you came from a 2-parent household. What was their response um, into you
Uh,
taking this journey at such a young age? Were they ready to kick you out at 18?
my my family was supportive. My mom was supportive of it. My aunts and uncles thought it was a good decision for me. My stepfather did not. He did not approve of it. It wasn't something that he wanted me to do.
Okay, so it was a stepdad or a bonus
Yes,
father.
stepfather. That he legally adopted me at
What,
about age 5.
what do you mean
So
illegally? How do you
he
illegally?
he he adopted me. Like I don't know who my real father is. So
Okay,
when my mom and he got married, he adopted me.
like he went to the courts, or he just like they just start
Yes, he
changing
went
your
to court,
documents to
like
his last
paperwork.
name.
Like
Okay.
he changed my last name from what it was to Clora to what it is now.
You're not a real Clora.
But yeah, I'm a real Clora in the courts.
It,
In the
you
courts,
know what I mean
if something
biologically.
happened, my name is Clora.
Okay,
So
so you don't know who your real father is. Your biological dad. Let me say that.
I've never met him, but I do know what his name is.
Okay, and you've
I've never met any of that side of my family, but no.
no. Do you have any desire to?
You know what? I did years ago, but it's almost like I have resentment
Mm-hmm.
from that um, because of the stuff that my, I don't know, I guess because of my adoptive father and my
You can
mother
call him
went
a
through.
bonus dad.
Okay, my bonus dad and my mother went through.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of hold
A
my
grudge.
biological father accountable for that,
Right.
or for having me in that situation.
Okay. I see how that could come across, like you met him. So if you were to see him, is he still alive? Yes, that looks like a yes.
I'm not sure.
Oh, it looks like
I'm
a
not
yes. So
sure.
we're gonna go with yes for 500.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
for 500, he's alive. You see him. What's the first thing you say?
Why?
That's the first thing that's gonna fall out. Just why?
Why? Exactly. I mean, you see these things like people running up, hugging their dad, and you know what you've been going. So I don't want to. I made it. I'm good. I'm good. You keep on moving with your life. I'm gonna keep on moving with mine.
Right, but the why
Uh,
would be, I guess, the uncomfortable conversation as to how he could just walk away.
and I've asked like my aunts who knew him, and they've said that he's tried to reach out, but my bonus dad had like shut all that down.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if you want to be a part of my life, then I mean, you could have been a part of my life.
Right, because you
That's
did
how I
eventually
feel.
grow up. You turned 18 and you went to the military. You're grown now, um,
Mhm.
decades old,
Yeah, I'm sure he
right?
has other children. I'm sure I probably have other half brothers and sisters out there that I do not know about.
Bonus siblings,
hmm
bonus
I'm sure I
siblings.
could do a 23 and me and be surprised.
Okay. Um,
But
so,
that's that's a whole nother conversation with about me and him. We had a very toxic relationship.
you and your bonus
Um,
dad or your real dad?
me and my bonus dad,
Your bonus dad.
and I'm gonna say something on here that I don't know. We used to fight physically, um, and I've stabbed him.
Okay. You left him leaking? Where'd you
Mhm.
stab him at? You must ain't stab him good if he's still living. Is he still living?
I was
Oh,
I was still in high school. I was young. Him and my mom was fighting. I mean, but that's a whole nother conversation.
it's all right. I think we got time.
so,
You
so
stabbed him. Where did you stab him? Like, did you grab a butter knife or did you grab a real good knife out of the
no,
kitchen?
it was a knife. It was a knife.
Not a bread knife with the serrated edges or
No,
no.
it was a butcher knife. That's what you're getting at.
Okay.
It was a knife. Yes.
So how did that go after that? You just stabbed him in,
Um, it went. Police came. I didn't go to jail.
thankfully.
Um, I wound up staying in the house. He wound up moving out. um, by that time, I mean, it had built up. It had built up to like years
Mm-hmm.
of abuse.
Right.
Um, that it had got to that point where him and my mom are fighting. I'm trying to get him off my mom.
Right.
Um,
What does that do to you when you think back about the physical abuse that you saw being done to your mother and knowing that at that age you really weren't at a space where you could physically stop it?
it makes you mad at everybody.
Why
Um,
everybody?
and when I say everybody, I'm talking about as a child, you don't know, but as you get older, um, and you think back to you had aunts,
Mm-hmm.
you had uncles, which is these are your mother's brothers and sisters.
Right.
Why was this allowed to go on?
Have you had those
Uh,
conversations with them? Did you ever ask them why?
I did. Um, I asked one of my aunts, and what she had told me, she was like, "If I had known it was that bad, I would have came and got you."
Don't you? I'm sorry. I really love when people respond with that bad. What does that really mean when somebody says, "Well, if I'd have known it was that bad, like I would have came"? What is that
And
bad?
I don't know because like when all that was going on, the police would come. He
Hmm.
would never go to jail. He would never be removed from the house. Now, granted, I'm not saying my mom was an angel. She drank um, and had her own problems.
Hmm.
Um, but at the time that they were fighting, like he wasn't drunk. He drank also, but he didn't drink like my mom drank.
So he was
So,
sober when he was abusing her, or when
hmm,
they were abusing each other, or just you feel like it was one-sided abuse? What's your thought, your take on it?
um, I would say my mom could be an instigator growing up and looking back at it. As a
Okay,
young child, all you see is a grown man jumping on your mama. That's all you see.
right.
But as you get older, and then you could think about the situations that happened. My mom was drinking. Um, her and my dad would get into an argument, a disagreement, or whatever, and then one thing lead to another, and then they'll wind up fighting. I can't say who put whose hands on who first,
Uh-huh.
but my mom would always catch the worst end of it, of course.
I want to say something because I'm listening to you speak, and again, I didn't know that this was your stepfather or bonus dad, because you initially said my mother and my father were married and they lived together, and as we continue to speak, despite the fact that there was an excessive amount of abuse, especially between you and him, you still address him as dad or your father.
That's what he was from the time I knew him until the time he passed. I mean, he was never, I don't want to call his name, but
No, I
he
don't want
was
you to say his
never,
name. I just think, most people when they get mad, like even when you're younger and you get mad at your parents and you can't say nothing nice about them, you just be like, oh, I can't stand her, or anything but my mom, or the because that it usually signifies a term of endearment, love. There's an emotional connection there, and you have not cut that cord or that tie between you and him.
well, okay. And with the bad, he was also a provider. I could say that.
Right.
Um, and my mom, they had a roof over our head. They bought us clothes. I mean, it wasn't like um, we were homeless, or were starving for food. He owned a grocery store.
Hmm.
Um, so
But does that
he did the things that
he was
I
supposed to
felt
do, but he also did the things that he wasn't supposed to do, right? And you feel like
that
it kind
that too,
of
with the good came the
it
bad. And with me, I mean, I just felt that the bad outweighed the
okay,
good.
the bad outweighed the good. So maybe that's what your aunt meant when she said it wasn't that bad, because he still provided. You still had a roof over your head. You still had clothes, food. She still was waking up, or she got up every time he knocked her down.
That's one way. That's one way, I guess, of looking at it.
It's not the way
I
you
looked at
saw
it
it.
as you didn't want to know.
They turned a
So
blind eye to it. Is how you feel.
I mean, you knew it. I mean, you saw the bruises. You knew when we had to pack up our stuff and we was going over grandma's house. My mama didn't drive. I mean, you knew how bad it was when you was taking us to certain places.
Mhm.
So
Um, do
you
you
got me in here sweating talking about this. I do
do?
not believe this.
That's what I'm here for.
Hmm.
Um, do you or did you, because you said he's deceased now, did you still honor him around Father's Day?
No,
No, you didn't.
no. I didn't attend his funeral.
Okay.
Um, once once that situation happened with us, we pretty much
When you wait,
separated.
when you say once that situation, what exactly? What situation? The step.
That that stabbing,
Okay.
me stabbing him. Once that happened, we pretty much separated ourselves, and we didn't talk for a long time.
We being you and him, or
Me
you,
and him.
him, and your. So how did that work with your mom? Because she was still married to him, right?
Um, yes, he had moved out, and she had stayed in the house, in which she had to eventually move on because she couldn't afford the situation that she was in. So she had to move to another place.
Okay. So he stopped providing once you stabbed him
Yes, yes.
for everybody, mom, siblings. Do you have siblings?
So he has, yes, I have a sister um, that lives in Arizona. Me and her are the closest,
Is this sister
which is a half sister. It's his daughter, his
his
youngest
daughter and
daughter,
your mother?
and my mother,
Okay.
which is my younger sister. Outside of that, he has nine, like nine sons and eight daughters.
He had a good grocery store. I mean, if you could provide for 9 children, that's a good
No,
grocery store.
nine sons and eight daughters.
Oh, I didn't hear right. Let me see. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 17.
Yes, that's accounted for.
That's accounted for. So did he
Yes.
provide for all of them, or only the children that were actually in the home, with being you and your sister?
I can't account to that. Just for me and my sister is the only two that I know of.
That you know of that were provided for.
Yeah.
Okay. So I do have one last question, and I'm gonna let you go. And it relates goes back to Memorial Day. Memorial Day is to honor those that have provided the freedoms that we have been afforded here in America, right? Yes?
Yes.
No? Okay. Um,
Yes.
so, and that's supposed to be a day where we reflect and acknowledge and think about all of those that we have lost. I personally feel like it should be a day where we should think about a solution as to how we can minimize some of these casualties and prevent going to war. What do you think?
That is a good humane answer, but violence has been the answer for everything in
Yeah,
America.
there's big money in violence.
It's big money in war.
Absolutely. I.e., why we have war and Memorial's Day, so we can go out and buy hot dogs and hamburgers and have cookouts. Yay. Thank you so much, David, Clora, for sharing your story and having this uncomfortable conversation with me here on Vegas Hype Media on a Thursday with none other than Emergency. I love you guys. Later.